here if you could and say a couple of things. Come on. And that's about it. Sure. Whatever. Yep, because they are controlled by the luminous ones. I'm not under that shit. I'm not under that shit, dude. Some people are under that luminous control, yo. Some of us are just not under certain controls of others. When it comes to that stuff, we just don't. Yeah, just, yeah. People talking about they don't trust me. You know what shit I have to say? I've been through a lot of shit. I ain't nowhere near you. I don't even live in the same state as you. I visited those places. If you can't see that, then I don't know what to tell people. You're definitely not awake. Some people, they say they are not. Might not be. Let me just nothing always goes like perfect. No, does it? crazy world, man. Okay, you can't always make people trust you. They don't understand. I don't think they understand like the spirit. Like we can pick up. We can even pick up other people's stuff, like thoughts and stuff. It's really crazy, or like things that are going to be. Yeah, I've already experienced this already. This light is doing weird stuff. I've already experienced it before. I'm not gonna convince anybody of nothing. Just be yourself. Can't convince people of nothing. Just be yourself. Do how you do. What you do. If they need help, they need help. They need to ask a question, they'll ask you a question. Mm-hmm. That's a total. Check your homegirl because you don't know who she's responding to. She was like, totally ignored that comment. Some people, you don't realize what's. Doesn't mean it's bad necessarily, though. There's good people within those groups. There's good people in this world. And also, there's also people who relay messages amongst themselves too in this world too. Like, oh hey, you know what he was saying? He was talking about this on his live. It's like, who cares? Was it bad? Probably not. Was there some truth to it? Most likely so. We discussed this. If you're not ready for that, you're not really awake. And it's not that woke stuff that they talk about either. It's not that woke talk that they talking about. We just got like something tonight. Actually, this morning. Beautiful green on the top. This. You don't have to trust me. As the good book says, it's just a lot of times it says things will be revealed unto you. So you might find out other people around you sometimes are not what they think they are, the ones that you've been around the whole time. That's what I learned. People I was around the whole time I thought was, some of them turned out to be the very ones I should have been paying attention to. They're laughing in my face as they were working on me, or just doing little stuff they just didn't know. They still didn't see. I didn't see it. I just didn't see it. Because I trusted that friend so much or whatever it was, and then found like, oh, there was like a weird stuff going on. And some people you grew up with, so you're just like, oh well, I gotta. Some of them, not everybody. Some of them, like, no, this is cool. It's cool. Trust them. But there's other ones I met. I was like, oh man, it was you. It's like, okay. Some people know dang well them powers that be what be going on. So when you say something, they know what you're talking about. They know dang well what that is. They know dang what the powers that be is and what goes on truthfully in this world. And I don't agree with a lot of things, but I'm not an elite person or anything, so I ain't controlling all this stuff. But that's one of the beliefs of this world for some of these groups is the illusion is you think you have control and they're doing manipulations on your stuff around you in your life. And sometimes it's okay, other times it's not. Other times it's not good stuff. And I know they be, they get on, they be watching them lives. And I see them messing with other people's lives all the time and reporting, just doing all kind of stuff. And a lot of them, people say they don't care. They're like, I don't care about it. Everybody doesn't care until they're getting the crappy end of it. That's just what I learned about it. You're getting the crappy end of that stuff going on, weird stuff going on. You're like, man, that's what I noticed about it. And people kind of care about things. And they care about stuff. Trust is a hard thing. Ooh, trying to build trust among people and stuff. You're not even. Sometimes you can't even try because they just assume what they assume, and it's understandable. And there's way more uh, ornery characters in this world. Way more ornery characters in this world. I've ran into them. I survived some really ornery characters, and I've seen ones that are they on YouTube right now. Some of them are real good people, and there's a few. They're just doing their stuff. They need to make their money. But oh boy, there's ones I met though. They just you see that little dark thing in them, and they go, the way they speak to you and stuff. Little dark spirit get on them, and they'll kind of spin stuff a little bit. Oof. Yeah, they'll spin stuff on a little bit. Yep, second jig of the new year. That's what I typed. This one. I got rid of that life because I also did some gaming on that one. So I was just hanging out for New Year's. Yeah, it's just hanging out. I don't really do much other than tie a little bit here and there and sit in the house, take walks, walk the dog, and cook my food and take my little mini pennies and buy a couple things that I need to live for the month. The man upstairs provides, I guess. You know, not everybody's into that, but I guess that's kind of how it is. You can get you some food, you can live, you can not be in mixed up in too much drama. You're sort of ahead of things already. you're entitled to. I know I am. She laughs. I was like, good for you. I'm not. I don't need to play games with you. Just because I like somebody doesn't mean they have to trust me or anything. I don't have to play games with nobody and pretend. I'm me. I'm me. I've had enough narcissistic manipulation in my life and seen it and seen groups want me to be in it. And many people I've come in contact with, I know they're involved with these groups and stuff. And I just don't respond the same because I've seen the crazy stuff that goes on. So I don't respond the same. Sometimes people think you don't see what's the stuff they got going on. You're just not even, you're not in their stuff. You ain't even in their business, but you can see little things. That stuff's not fun. You're just like, I see this thing going on. You're like, I see this thing going on. Yeah, see. Ooh. Anybody ever heard that? I wonder if anybody's ever heard that thing where they say if your foot's itching, it means somebody's talking about you. That's what's happening right now. I'm like, dang, my foot's itching. I'm just being me. I'm like, you know what? My foot's itching for some reason. Old wives' tales. The old wives' tales or whatever. Like, yeah, if someone's talking about you, your foot itch. Or if this happens, that means this is happening. Well, that's how I'm feeling right now. I'm like, oof. This is itching up a storm. The little bottom part. What does that mean? Never know. You never know, man. I know most everybody else is still they're getting up for work right now. Or they're just going to bed. Because it is 4 o'clock here. Because it is 4 in the morning here. Man, I got a bunch of stuff, errands to run today too. Stuff I gotta do. Life. Adulting. Adulting. Yeah, I didn't go out drinking or anything last night, and I didn't drink early at home either. So I'm up right now. And had my coffee so I could stay up so I wouldn't go to sleep, and now I'm just up. Now I stayed up for New Year's, and now I'm just up. 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Well, you get the time. Don't forget to drop a like. If you're coming in, don't forget to drop a like and say hello. What else to put on here? I'll leave it like it is. Peacock fur. Peacock curl. Do like a glow bug yarn too. We'll just do the what's it called body, I guess. Just green body. Simple. Just simple. Yeah, you can't make people try to trust you if they've been through lots of untrustworthy situations. You can't push it on them either. They gotta figure that on their own. May never figure it out. Shoot, I may never. I was definitely struggling with it. Trying to trust anything about people. But I believe when you go through them situations, the people who did that to you, that's what the whole point of them doing that to you is. The whole point of that is so you don't trust people or you only will trust certain people, but not everybody's a bad egg or trying to do something to you. So they do that to you so you won't trust people. And then when you have weird situations coming around you that you don't understand, sometimes you assume it's the new person causing it. And sometimes it's not. It's 75% of the time it's principalities doing something. Little groups and stuff. Doing something to you to kind of keep you feeling a certain way. And a lot of people, we get fear from that too. So we won't trust nobody or anything they say. Even if the person ain't doing nothing to them. And sometimes people open up to you a little bit, then they retract. So no, it's okay. They're allowed to feel how they feel about any of whatever they feel. But I don't think that's funny. But some people find that funny. I don't think that's funny to go yeah ha ha about it. And I learned that one too because I said I used to tell some people I used to be around. I said, "Hey, you shouldn't always giggle about how you treated that person or something sometimes because." They're like, "Why not?" And I said, "Next year that person might be a millionaire and help you, or next time around this might happen, or you might you might break down, and that's the person who pulls over." And they're gonna remember like you were evil. And then at that point, they got that it's in their hands to be nice to you or leave you at the mercy. I've seen that too. I've seen that happen before, and then I was just like, "Nah, I'm gonna do this for you anyway." Hey, what's up? Happy New Year. No frills. Happy New Year, man. Yes, this is the one I tied for New Year's. So if you saw it or not, you jumped out of there. I know you're probably going to work or something. Running around. I'm just always thinking about how people act in the world. It's always in the back of my mind. No matter what I'm doing, it always comes up to the surface, that stuff and how people treat you and laugh about stuff or do certain things certain way. You support them, or whether you support them or not. Whether you support them or not. Some people get weird about that. You don't support me then. You're just like, whatever. That kind of matters too, how you deal with when people are going to support you. New people too. It matters a lot. They like support what you do. Just leave it like that for a minute. Chartreuse. Looks like green chartreuse head, powder coat, floss tail. Definitely a little jiggy to catch some per panfish. Easy, simple little fly, little jig, fly jig. I like saying fly instead of jig for some reason. Oof, really, yeah. I know someone talking about my foot itching. Someone talking about my foot's itching. So I'll just tie this jig up. Kind of similar to this one. It's the same thing, but similar. Very similar. The only difference is it's got a marabou in white, and then it's got pearl over the top that makes it look really green on the top of the white. But it's actually pearl. And then there's this one. It's like nice little trout, crappie looking color, chartreuse. Little panfish. Little panfish jigs. Little panfish jig. Oof, yeah, I don't know. This is weird. Foot just itching like crazy. Whenever this happens, there's I notice there's like commotion going on. And it's 4 o'clock right now. This is the job right now. Just tie some stuff. I'll probably water the plant too. Hang it out. Oof, man, boy. Oh well, you know. All you can do is pray for them, even though they might think it's funny to laugh at somebody. All you can do is pray for them if they believe in it, or whatever their belief is. You definitely do that. You can pray for folks, even if it's not their belief a little bit, because you want positivity, good stuff for them. You know, some people have things against that type of stuff because they had bad experiences or they've met people within those ranks that are, you know, that do deal within that were not good people. I don't know, like this is like white and green and an olive body on it, and then like a chartreuse head. It's like a lime green chartreuse tail kind of, but then it's got the white. It looks pretty good. And then this is kind of similar, but it's just this is glow bug yarn on the tail, and then I put the peacock pearl over the tail instead, so it looks a little different, a little less movement to it. That type of yarn on it. little less movement to it with that type of yarn. So it's like, if I had to go with any color though, like if I just had to have it, it's gonna be like a green or a black. If it's like just literally like three colors, you can go white, black, or even brown, and that's like all. Those are like gonna catch trout because most bugs look and nymphs and things look black or brownish, or they have like a reddish brown to them, or like a purplish to them. So all those colors kind of work because they look like some kind of bug or something that would be darting around in the water. And I've definitely noticed that sometimes that's just you don't need anything super bright colored or anything, but especially over here because sometimes it gets really pressured in certain areas. Well, not really this time of year, but when it's summer, it gets in here, it's gonna be like the fish gonna see everything. Some of these lakes and stuff, the fish will see everything. These big fish will come right up and just kind of mill around and be like, "No, we're not biting anything. You really got to work. You might have to work a little bit, but usually you still can get some." That's what I do. I use a lot of like light line, like trout, weight line, and full fluorocarbon. That's why I use it all the times because I just I just get way more strikes with that 6 pound fluorocarbon than I do with anything else. But it puts me at the mercy if I do catch something really large. And I've caught some pretty large bass on 6 pound fluorocarbon before, and I've hooked some carp on on like 8 pound fluorocarbon, and they still broke me off. So, but they were really large carp, and I was like, yeah, there's not really much you can do. I mean, we have some really large ones in the lake not far from here, and there I think there's definitely a state record in there. We just because I've seen them swimming around and nobody's caught it. And like I've seen it and no one's been able to catch them in certain areas. In the spring, I see them all the time, and I'm like, yeah, no one ever catches them. I mean, you catch one or two here and there, but they're not big ones. So yeah, me too. At least the fluorocarbon, I really like it. It's low visibility, especially the green fluorocarbon. The one that's got like a green tint to it is really good. And I use it for salmon. I use it for everything. I just step up the line a little bit, like 10 pound for coho, 12 pound for coho, and then if I know there's kings in there, I use like 15. I've usually never even get up to 20 or 30 pound line for kings, but if I was trolling or something, maybe. But just drift fishing, casting lures, I'm gonna stay like 12, 15 pounds, maybe 20, maybe. But most of the time I use 15 or 12 pound. And I do okay. They kind of run me around though. Obviously, when you get something that's over 9 pounds, something that's like 10 pounds, it's gonna run you around though. if you don't got no space on the river, you're gonna be running around chasing after it. But if you got if you're in the right, if you're in there fishing in the right area, you have enough room to fight them. If there's not too many other fishermen there, they ain't gonna run when they're in their way. Because we get a lot of that combat stuff sometimes, where it's like you kind of do need to heavy your line some places just to kind of, if you get one or get something that's large, you want to be able to just get it out of the water away from everybody else, not get torn apart on logs and everything else that's in there in some areas. But I usually fish where there's only a few snags, where I kind of know where the holes are and stuff. So I'm like, I know there's a slot right there and there's a spot right there and the fish hold there and they come across here. There's a few other places I've fished. I haven't fished them much, but I kind of know when I look at it. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a shallow spot right there. That probably holds trout, and then the salmon kind of hold over there. You kind of get an idea after you go a couple times and look at the river in that spot. You kind of know, like, you go back another year, it's a little bit different, but it's still kind of the same. Oh hey man, yeah, it's early. It's like 4 in the morning. Yeah, I just got done I did this one for New Year's as it was turning. The clock was turning, and I just got done doing that green one right there, SotherCon. And I was looking, I was like, what color should I make now? Just kind of hanging out. I was kind of talking about stuff, getting used to trusting new people, and you meet new people and then they don't trust you. Yeah, people say get to yeah, that's part of it too, you know. But I figure if you do what you're doing, it's gonna come to you, and people are gonna appreciate when you help when you're doing what you do to support them too. Some people they understand, like, you don't gotta ask for much, and I try not to. I try not to bug people, but that don't mean some people still ain't gonna trust you. No, there's just I'm actually that's where I'm gonna go actually today. I was literally waiting, like I was like I'm gonna make to run some errands and um, that's another reason I'm probably not gonna go sleep is because I'm just gonna be up and then I'm gonna have to run to like this special store where they got some of this stuff because I don't want to order it and wait. I was like I don't feel like waiting. I want to just go get a basket and be like I need this, this, this. All right, cool. I got like the 5 things I need. I might have to order the jig heads I need, some other ones I want, but I might be able to find them. I might be able to find them. I've been thinking about it. I'm trying to, I want to get a little bit more stocked up because then, if people start ordering that stuff, they don't, some usually they don't just buy one. They want like a couple. If they like a certain thing or they catch something, especially if they start catching with that one, they're gonna be like, I need like 10 of those. So I don't know. There's a lot of jigs on the market and stuff, but sometimes people want specific looking thing or color though sometimes, and the ones that are already mass produced or they're only producing 5 colors or something, you might have a little bit of different color scheme someone might like or something, and you can, or they might have something they make themselves and they're like, oh, I like the way you make yours, so make me that but make it in this color. So there's that, and that's kind of more of a custom thing. Yeah, I just kind of hanging out. I was looking at like just I'm probably gonna just do a lot of tying a lot of that different stuff now before fall comes. So when it gets like August, I'm gonna be, especially when August comes, I'm gonna probably be unloading a lot of pink salmon jigs because, or at least trying to, because they're gonna be around. Because it's 2025 now. It's an odd year, so that's when they're around. And I'll be trying to kind of make some of those for people and stuff. Probably just keep a few on me too when I go fishing, just because maybe somebody will want some. Definitely happens where you can lose all your jigs when you're fishing. I've had that happen once or twice, but usually now I've done fished with jigs for salmon so often. I only need like 4, for the trip, and I'm probably good. I'm probably not gonna lose any. I might lose one, but yeah, people go through those jigs pretty crazy, pretty fast. Some people when you're first learning how to fish them, you lose a lot to the riverbed, a lot to the riverbed. I'm going to eventually. I just haven't. I just been doing the jigs and then food, and eventually I'm going to. I'm kind of picking my points and times. I've had, we discussed on other live channel, like some of the stuff that goes on, and I've had those things happen to me. So I've almost been taken out of here before my time, we'll say, and over that kind of activity, and over someone else's thing, you know, they're over their little darkness and them, and people like that kind of there's something about you, and there's something that you, and they focus on certain people like that. Those people, those groups, they get after because there's something about you spiritually. There's something in you. You demonstrated. That's the only way I can explain it. There's something you demonstrated. That, what is that? So that's about it. But definitely tie some jigs up, and I'm sure some people will want to buy some if they want to get it all together in a way. And I'll probably give away a few too. I was planning to give like a couple away to um just a couple lures because he's ice fishing. He and we talked about it a little bit, and I need to get a hold of him. I might send some up there so he can kind of play around with them. Maybe some jigs or something. Maybe some these little crappie jigs. Maybe even give him a chance to kind of play around with them and on his channel a little bit. Some maybe like some midge patterns. I'm not sure yet, but sandworm worms or something like that. I'm not sure quite what I want, which direction I want to go, but definitely some kind of winter hatch type of thing. Probably do something this for like winter. But usually jigs always work. There's so many different types of jigs they use for ice fishing, so I'm like, even these little ones, like they work. This is what I used to use around here. When we were on the boat, I would just grab one of these and tip it with a worm and go to town. just drop it down, or a curly tail like this with a curly tail on it, and then just drop it all to the bottom, and then just reel it up a little bit, like I'm saltwater fishing for rockfish, and then I just start kind of jigging it, then let it back down and kind of jig it up, and catch quite a bit of fish that way. Perch, bluegills, and cold. Like that was in February, so it's still pretty cold out. Real cold. Yeah, but right now I'm just making orange, like fire orange. This is like a softer orange right here than this orange. And I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna do a peach tail on this one too. Yeah. Nothing is ever as you think it's gonna be. You know. And you dealing with them groups. Some of these groups, it's you're not really dealing with, but they're around. This, a little word of mouth goes around sometimes, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad what's said. But you can only be you and try to be better. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean everybody's gonna trust you. And also, some people like to play around with people too. They like to play around with people's like feelings and emotions, and they get off on that, and they say they don't trust you, but they really do. But they know that there's something else about it, and you can't blame them. But at the same time, some stuff. Sometimes some stuff they don't understand. So you're just like, and maybe they understand it too, and they're communicating to others. Hey, go check him out. What's he doing over there? Was he talking about me? Blah blah blah. But some people keep connections too from a long time too. Some of us kind of leave people alone because we've been, we've been attacked by situations and stuff. So we're like, all right, I'm just leaving people alone. You get put in that isolated state, and that's not good if you got someone trying to be an enemy to you who's putting a false narrative on you, because then everybody believes what that person says because that person's got power and they have power over those people. So they're going to, and if they do know, they might just say, I don't care. I'm gonna do whatever that person says because that person has power. I've definitely seen that. And I was like, wow, I'm not really like that. I kind of don't. I get it, but I'm like, nah, I don't really like that. Because I don't know, in the long run, I don't know, is that a way to live? I don't know. And that ain't just because of spiritual belief, because I know I'm not perfect in that either, but I just seen enough of it. Just seen enough of it where I'm like, no, I don't like that. Let's do crystal flash in here. Do crystal flash on this one. I just seen enough of it. But eventually, I'm going to do a live one and fish. It's just like around here. I'm just like, man, I don't know what lake I want to go to. The one lake is like right in the city, and I was like dreading going down there. It's in this other part of the city that I just don't want to. I just don't like what's going on in that area. It's decent area. I just don't like what's going on in that area right now. The type of activity that goes on, I was like, yeah, that's gonna not be too fun. And parking fares, I'm like, that's not gonna be fun. I've done it before, fished there, but I was like, nah, it was different when I went there. Let's just say it was different time, and the stuff that's going on now was not happening in that area that's is now. So it's kind of like pick your spots. And Luminaries, she's over here, but she's south, so she's way south of me. But I know that area too. She's way south of me. And I fished in that area before. I used to kind of stay out there, sort of. Someone I was with at the time is from that area. And let's just say one of the people who kind of started targeting or being along with it, and some of them were from that area. And I realized, like, yeah, there's some reason why certain people target after others, and it's something about the spirit of them, and they want you to act like that too, and get you all in some kind of controlling mess. A lot of it, I think, is just based around promises and money and crap, not being real. They'll be look real to everybody else. They look real sometimes. That's what I know. Cause I've ran the map of meeting YouTubers and people and just been chill about it and jokative about it, and some people, they look at you with this weird look and you're like, what is that look? And it's like what does that look about? You're like, something I don't know. And they be a little whisper. They see that when you see that whisper, you go look out. But they're in your presence and you're just chilling, talking, being nice. Like you're just like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah. Have you checked this out? This idea out? You pay attention to people like that. Some of them good souls. They're really got good heart, and some of them been through the same things or worse. But you gotta watch that sometimes. Exactly what I was saying about one person. So I was like, yeah, I'll come visit. I don't mind visiting. I'll come visit. Like, I'll come out there, maybe fish or something. Visit some family somewhere else. I said, but I don't want no drama from some randos. Yeah, I could do that probably too. Maybe eBay. For me, it was just more of like getting ready to, you got to get the address to sell it, and send it out. That's kind of what it was like. Oh yeah, I got to send it out, and then depending on how many they order and stuff, how that's gonna go. But I suppose, you get so many orders at a time, and you just realize you got to get them out within a certain time. Or when you put them up that way, you can put how many are up for sale. So that probably makes it a little bit easier rather than just saying we offer this color. They're always available when that's not the case always. That's not always the case. I know that's definitely not here for certain stuff. When the salmon season or certain season starts, you'd be looking for certain. Actually, sometimes you look for certain power bait, and in some stores you might have trouble finding that because it just gets ran through because when those trout lakes open up, because they have like time when they open up here, And then we have like our ones that are kind of year round, and they're like ponds and lakes. They're kind of like year round, and those are the ones where you can just go anytime, and you just follow the fishing regulation, and you're good. Whatever the regulations say, you can keep or catch, and you're good. But the other ones, some of them only open in April, and they only last till September, and then they shut them down. Or some of them last, they're smaller, or they're alpine like kind of, and there's little unique things about them, and that's why they shut them down. Because I think if they let you fish all that, you'd overfish the lake or something. You wouldn't have very many nice sized fish in there. I think that might be some reason why they do it, and those usually are the ones they stock too. And you get some holdovers, and sometimes they'll stock a couple of those lakes with brooders. There's like a couple of them right now that have brooders in them, and those was ones I was kind of looking at. I was like, I know they put like there's like 3-pounders in here right now. There's like some nice sized ones in here, rainbows. But it's really nice sometimes to catch those wild ones, those like wild cutthroats and stuff, because they fight better and stuff. They're a level funner to catch. Yeah, it's like me too. I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna just tie some like here and there, and just kind of get like a little mini stock of just random stuff, and see how it goes, and just to see. Definitely, I know the salmon jigs people want those, because those twitching jigs people want them, and then the like steelhead drifting type jigs and all that stuff. That's just, it's a given. It's a never ending thing with those. And then there's so many different colors, and if you're offering them at a little bit better price than the mainstream ones, you're gonna get people wanting to buy those, because, and especially if they're in the right colors that the fish like, you're gonna get more people interested in that, because it's just, I mean, I have a couple of them. They're like, I've looked them up. One store was selling them for $8 a jig, and I was like, $8. I was like, I got those for like $4. Like, that inflation is real. It done went up $4, and it was only $4. It was $4.99. Now it's $8. I was like, that it's like $8-9. I was like, $9 for that one jig. I was like, I just tied 2 of those, and I paid $4 for the hooks. It was a particular hook that they came with. I didn't get many, but hooks. But I was like, that was 4 hooks to that one. That 4 hooks and lures to that one jig. So it just makes more sense. Yeah, I was talking Sandy. We were talking. I was talking earlier about that on the live, the hair, the rabbit hair and stuff, and she was like, "You can't even get that in Australia." she's like, you can get it, but it's expensive, and we don't have wild rabbits here because of they're not supposed to. We don't want nothing like that getting loose and causing ecosystem problems. Yeah, she was explaining that, and I was like, oh. She was like, yeah, you don't want that. She's like, they don't want us to have that. I was telling her, I was like, yeah, I met Steve Irwin before, and I met his wife before, because his wife is from Oregon. And she was studying cougars, and she came up to Washington, and I just happened to run into her. And she was like, hey, do you know any place where this, and I told her where this like research place was, where they do some studies on cougars, where's that? And then she was like, I'm gonna go up there. And I said, yeah, you should go check it out, because there's this place. And I told her about the place, and I was like, there's a mountain called Cougar Mountain. And she was like, oh. And I said, that's why they call it that, there's cougars up there. But she was doing a lot of study on that at that time, and so that was like before they even had that little show and everything. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know who she was. That happened. It seemed to happen to me a lot, where I'd run into people like that, and I'd be like, who are you? I was like, and then they'd be like, hey, and I would just be in the store, or be out and about, really weird. And then they'd be like, hey, I just visiting. And I was like, okay. And they're like, hey, do you know this? And I'm like, hey, you should check this over here. They're like, I will. I'm like, okay. And then like nice little conversations. Those days are when I wasn't was worried about weird stuff happening to me. Just cool, nice conversations with people, and then later found out like they were these well-known people. Ended up being well-known people there down the road. And people are like, "What? You met them?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't bother them. Like, I don't know." And they're like, "This person was worth this much money." I said, "I don't know. It's a person." I'm like, "That's cool, the person." It's just kind of how it is. They're just humans. Some are really nice ones, and some are not too great. They have all that stuff. And somehow they ended up with all these things. A lot of really nice ones though too. Where like they kind of understand that the world's kind of not always what we think it is. But a lot of that stuff can be kind of scary. Honestly, if you've seen the darkest recesses of what happens in the world, you kind of can be kind of frightening because other people aren't living in that. They don't, or they're like not seeing that for what that is. They're like, oh no, that doesn't happen. It's not that. But this is one thing I always did was just tie stuff and just trying to tie things and just definitely kept me out of like saved me from a lot of stuff sometimes. Occupied me to like create stuff and come up with ideas for just tying stuff. So I kind of like that. It's kind of orange and it's got like the crystal flash kind of trailing off of there. Trim it a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit longer than that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Rotate it a bit. Let that glue right kind of run down evenly. So first flies of 2025, first jigs of 2025. That one, that was the very first one. That's the very first one. Second one, and that's the third one. Definitely pretty fishy. Like I could see myself catching trout with the green one, especially. This little peach tailed one looks pretty good though too. I really like that apricot. I don't know why. That like apricot peach color. Just I don't know. But this orange is different than this orange. Look at the oranges. It's like it's a little bit brighter. This is like a lighter colored orange than that. That's like a dark orange, almost like the flame, but not quite. Not quite. If you look at it, it's not quite. This is more like got red to it. It's like flame fluorescent red. Let it sit for a minute and tie another one. Oh, what's going on here? That's pretty good. Yeah, I could definitely probably get some beer money or something or whatever. I don't know. Or more tying material money or something. I don't know. I'll put it here. Let's see. This one. Definitely do that. Yeah, you know what? I might. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to decide today. I don't know. Like, if I'm gonna go get another new vice, or if I'm just gonna, and then, or if I'm gonna. I definitely need the materials, but I'm like, do I want to get a new vice also? That's what I've been looking at, getting a new vice, because I've had this vice since I got this one when I was like 15 to replace my very first one that I had. So I've had this for a long time. I think it's got its use, and then I just bought this base last year so I can move it around because I had the clamp on one you clamp to the table, and it just wasn't gonna work because I wanted to be able to like take this with me somewhere. I wanted to be able to kind of like take it in the car and stuff. So I got this base to go with it, then so I can move it around. Just had to buy it separately and try to match it online and find one that matched this one. And now I'm kind of like, man, I should get a new vice. One with the this part's more pointed because then it's easier to make the smaller nymph stuff and shrimp stuff. But I've been making them on this one and got used to it. So been done got used to making them on it. Yeah, just like little crappie jigs, you know, little micro fishing type little jigs. I usually like the weight a little bit bigger than those. Took these ones just a little one size bigger. That's usually what I use. But when I fish those, I'm usually fishing bass, little like, and basically, just light line bass fishing. And I use like a really small reel. I use like one of those micro reels that they almost use for like ice fishing, basically, because it's fun to catch them on there, especially smallmouth. It's really fun to catch them on there. Really small. I've showed it before, but it's like really small, little micro reel, little small reel, like a little paddle, really small paddle handle on there. Makes it a challenge. Gives you a little bit of a challenge when you catch one with that. A little bit of a challenge. And when you get a nice size fish, like a good 3-4 pounder he's gonna pull drag on that reel and give you a fight. So, and if you catch trout and you don't catch a lot of large ones, it's gonna feel like it's a lot larger trout on that type of setup like that. I had a really cool rod that went with it, but oh man, I think I talked about it, but it just had errors out of the factory or something. Like I literally got to go trout fishing with that like 2 times, and like the third time it broke. Like I went to cast and it just said blah, broken hat. I said, what? I can't believe this. I was like, I just brought this brand new. That Abu Garcia was on there actually. They went together, and I don't know that rod was meant to cast these little light jigs. It's the way it had a soft action, so you can flick little jigs like that pretty far, and it just bloop. It just wasn't quite enough backbone to that rod, and I don't think I'm the only person that had that problem with that particular rod because I went and looked online and saw some videos, and some people were having fun, easy time with it, but a few people I saw they're like, man, this like it broke, and I was like, yep, that happened to me too. Like it broke, and I was upset that day because that meant that's the second rod I've broken like that, and that just meant the day was over. That was it. Like I didn't. I was. It was like you're going home, and I didn't want to come back. I was like, I'm not going back out. I'm home now. It was like March or something. I went in like March, and it was still snowing a little bit, and there's still snow coming down. And I was like, I like saw fish, like a few fish rising because it was getting towards like it was trying to be nicer weather, but it was snowing. I saw some trout rising and everything, and sure enough, that rod broke, and I was like, man, the deal. Hey, you're watching. I know to catch me half the time you gotta be up. I was on live earlier though, and I tied one, and then for New Year's, so that was like the New Year's one, and I was just hanging out, talking and stuff, chatting while I'm doing stuff, and then we just did these two, this one here, that one there, and then I'm doing another one, doing the same one to this one. Yeah, you guys probably has it frozen over. Our stuff, all our stuff is frozen over in the mountain mostly. Like there's a lake called Trout Lake out there, and you can fish on the ice on that one. And I've been to that one, and I didn't get to fish, but it was busy. A lot of fish and a lot of trout in there. But it's a good little drive out there. A lot of nice size trout. They used to have a tournament. Like they have like a what are they called? You know those things. The derby. They have like a derby there. They have a derby specifically for that lake every year when after they've done stocking it. But it has a lot of that one has a lot of holdovers in that lake. I think so. There's a lot of holdovers in that lake. So you might not catch a trout that's recently stocked. You might catch something that's really like a monster, pretty much. And I've seen, and when you catch it, they keep your picture at that place. You know, the standard, like the old shops used to do, and they keep your picture and they put it up so everybody can see that you caught the lake monster. Everyone can see you caught the lake monster. And that one has and that's another one. It's got that one has burbot in it. That lake one time, and they're the freshwater lings, and they are delicious. 'Cause I've eaten them before. They taste really good to me. Yeah, freshwater lings. She's like, no hi. Like, what's going on? He's probably doing something. He's probably getting ready to work or something. Time's different over there. He might be at work or something. I was telling someone they're like Happy New Year, and I said yeah, and I said we ain't celebrated ours yet. Like what? I was like you forget you're on the other side of the world, so she's like oh, she's like it's 6 in the morning here. And I was like yeah, you've already celebrated. They started laughing. I was like you've already. It's all good. It's different time zone. And she was like oh yeah, I forget. Like she's like I forgot. Yeah, it's like 1 p.m. for you, and it's 4:51 a.m. here. I was making a funny joke about it though. I was like, she's like, "Huh, we've had our New Year's before you," and I said, "Yeah, that just means you're older. I'm younger than you technically." And they just started laughing. They were laughing about that. I was like, yeah, it's like, did you think about it like that? She's like, oh yeah. I was like, technically, that means I'm 4 hours and I'm 5 hours and something younger than you. Yeah, it's like, let's see if I can. Yeah, it's like 4:51, 4:52 here. We in the same time zone, luminaries. We know what time it is. We're in the same time zone. We in the same time zone. That look good. See how this one looks. That's a good thing. Tail's a little shorter. I can always trim it. Yeah, it's like, well, then you got Hawaii. They were behind us probably. Hawaii, and then Alaska probably. Like not too much of a difference, but Hawaii, yeah, there's a little bit of a difference because they're out there over the water. Yeah, I already had mine because I had mine so I could stay up till New Year's, and then now it's still working. Usually I'd be up anyway, but it's still working on me. I was like cracking up because I was thinking about cracking up because I was talking to somebody. Hey, morning, MVP. I was talking to somebody and they're like, I don't know. I hate to say it over live, but I was like, I don't trust you. I was like, you don't have to. It's funny too because I ran into a lot of people, but they probably wouldn't remember me because I look so. It's years later. It's 20 years. It's been 20 years for some people. It's like you're not gonna remember some kid you bumped into, or some teeny bopper who's now 41. You're probably who was a fisherman, or who was just traveling around the world, or, the country. You're probably not gonna remember him. Like sitting down and having a nice little chat about fishing or just business and life stuff and knowledge of things, you're probably not going to remember. Only a few people I met were like, I remember you. They're like, oh, you're cool. I remember you. Only a few people. I know MVP remembers me. He made sure to let me know. He's like, I remember you. Yeah, but obviously I've been through the ringer of craziness and back. Yeah. I don't know. I always tell myself, I said, how did I end up in these weird scenarios all the time? Don't know. Or do I? I don't know, or do I? Oh, we were just wrapping this around. Yeah, but this is definitely a different orange than that other orange. Just this type of chenille is just a different color. A little different, or a little darker orange to it. Yeah, it's kind of funny when dealing with people and then they've had stuff happen. They're like, I don't trust you. It's funny how someone could say they don't trust you and then laugh at this in the same sentence while they say they don't trust you. And you're like, okay, are you joking? Are you serious? But hey, whatever. You're just like, all right, well, okay. I'm like, if you knew even more stories about me, what I've experienced, you'd be like, oh, I trust you. I don't trust the other person you're, these people that were trying to be around you that you kind of went away from. You'd be like, oh, yeah, that's some crazy stuff. Luminaries knows. I kind of told her part of that. Explained it. Just one event. Just one event. That was unbelievable. Yeah, when people tell you don't talk that happened, you're like, oh man, that's not good stuff. It's evil. darkness in the souls of men and women's. Yeah, you kind of do, and it just sometimes it's kind of like, I guess you do have to take the good with the bad, but then sometimes you've seen a lot of the bad, so that makes you not trust people to see the good that is there, capable to be there. That's one thing I learned about that is sometimes being like, I can do it all myself. Sometimes isn't always good either. It's good to be able to, but sometimes it's good to be like, this other person's over there. Like that I can just go to, even if you just need to talk to them. It's good to have that kind of. Sometimes you don't need money, you don't need anything like that. You just need someone to be like, hey, this is this. I need someone to talk to this stuff crazy. You wouldn't believe me what I saw when I walked to the store today. You just like, do you know what happened? The dude dropped the bank and ran over. You want to be able to say something about what happened, or man, this guy backed into my car, or did whatever weird person. Yeah, I kind of got like that too. Being kind of, I mean, I live with family, but like when I moved away, I wasn't like that because I was like always at work and moving around a lot of people, and I had to deal with people like daily. But then when certain things happened, then I was like, oh, people, retract from everybody and start seeing for stuff people for some of the stuff that really goes on, and I was like, oh, I don't trust this. Like, but then I also realized, I don't know how to interact with people the same anymore because I don't. You've been kind of to yourself, and you're only dealing with the immediate people you're kind of trusting. And even some of them were turned out to be untrustworthy. Eventually, some of them. Literally, sometimes you can only count some people you can trust on like one or two hands. And that depends on what you're dealing with. Are they business partners? Are they, you know, what are they? Are they friends? Are they different things like that? But yeah, I got kind of stubborn with that too. I was like, no, like, kind of like, it took me a while, like, even when I started doing this, like, it took me a while to kind of be like, cool. Like, okay. Like, took me still a while to be kind of like, all right, I think this person's cool. I think it might be all right to chat and about certain things, and then I just realized it, and then talk to someone else, and then I was like, you know what, I kind of just need to talk to them, otherwise this is gonna just keep going like this perpetual thing like that, and then I'm gonna treat every single person like that, and I should be treat them like that, but give them a chance, like to show if they're, you know. I don't get all the lives sometimes either. Like, yeah, like I went live and it said 14 people came in. And I looked and it said zero almost the whole time, and only went to three like once. So everybody's just like scrolling, pretty much. And I was like, whoa, there's like 14. I was like, it didn't show that. It didn't show 14 people. But yeah. So it's kind of yeah, it's kind of janky. And I went and then I looked, like on a different device, and I'm like, oh, it says something different. So it's a little off. It's not exactly what's going on. And I've seen people's live say 500 people, and then they're like, no, there's only like 40 people in here. And I'm like, that's not what it says on my end. And I think it's just because people are jumping in and out of the rooms, and the numbers drop because they lose interest or they gain interest, and it just kind of teeter totters like that. And depending on subscribers and all these pieces to it. Yeah, sometimes it's good to be able to be like, it's all mine, I did it. But sometimes it's like, oh, that person like gave me an idea. Like, that was cool of them. They didn't have to do that. They just did it to do it, not because they necessarily totally want something. Sometimes you kind of do want something, but you don't want what they think. You kind of just like, no, I think you're cool. I like this. You make me laugh, or you're like this. This person is funny. You're fun. and that's what it is. You enjoy that conversation or whatever it is, and you like other things too about it maybe, but sometimes that's not. They, you kind of butt heads or whatever because you don't agree, or they're set in their way, and it's understandable, especially with the internet stuff. It's kind of, but I can't really say that either. I met one of my exes one time on the internet, so, and that lasted 6 years, 7 years, or 6 years. So you never know, you know. You never know, really. You have to be willing to kind of be like, okay, because honestly, if you think about it in the trusting sense, if you're willing to give your phone number or whatever and text people or your own address, then obviously, you, you know what I mean? Then obviously, and that person didn't show up to your home, then okay, that person might be someone you can trust. Kind of, they're not showing up to your home or anything like that. They're not coming to get you. You know, because I wouldn't want that. If I, gave out my address or sent something. I gave my I gave someone like my one person my true address. I was like, no. I said, because I'm not coming over there. It's like, I was like, now if you come over here, that's different. But I said, I ain't coming over here to bother you unless you say so. Like I can visit or something. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll come visit. But if you're gonna act all weird and like you're doing something, I'm like, no, I'd be scared to visit you that you're gonna make a false thing on me or something. Because some of these people these days, you hear them weird stories, So it's like I have just as much reason to be afraid. And some people think because it's a lady, you don't have to be afraid of her. I'm like, yeah, you do. I've heard some wild stories. They're like, you don't need to be afraid. I'm like, yeah, I've met women that were just as wild as some most men. Like, we like some strange stuff before. That's pretty good. Let's see. I met some that were like that, like just on some wild tip stuff. So it's funny to me. They're like, you, and I'm like, no, not me. Like, I think if you've been through those things, you're like, I don't want none of that wild stuff. I just want to chill. You want calm. You don't even want to fight, arguing. You don't want to be. What's that word? Like, or no, the word was like a. Some people think you always want to be right, but you're not. You might not be right, and you're not even feeling that way. Like, that's a thing. Yeah, I mean, this other people I met too. Some of them too. They have a right to at least feel kind of off, you know. But considering I ain't doing nothing to them, yeah, no. There's let's just say like they have, like I was explaining, they have other things happening around them, principal things moving around them, and I don't think they realize it as good as I do. And if they do, they're just playing around. And so I'm just kind of like, that's cool, but I'm not gonna play around with that and think it's funny or anything because I've had this happen. And if you've had anything like that happen too, or anything weird, you're gonna know that I ain't gonna be doing that because I know what that's like. And I know how that's manipulated too when people do stuff like that, how they can use that as like a manipulation tactic too. Like they'll use that. It's kind of like they'll use the entity or the person who's using the other people to manipulate it. They'll use those people to manipulate that, so you can't be around certain people, so you won't be able to be around them. They'll kind of like, if that makes sense. They'll like they'll insert those people into these situations around you and to do weird stuff and suspect stuff that cause you like issues and stuff. Let me get my power bank. I'm at like 8%. Power bank real quick. Walk over here. Power bank. Dang, man, that one part been on there for a while. I have to get the other. There we go. I don't know. I think I make sense, but that doesn't mean you can convince anybody. You know, you just gotta let them be how they gonna be, even if they think it's funny to make you squirm. I think that's what this 2% they want to see you squirm a little bit. They're like, let's see what it does when I say this to this guy or this person. I can tell they got that kind of heart to them where they actually care about it. There you go. Yeah, that's what it is too. I think some people know you're that kind of person, so they know, they can see it, they can feel it, they know, so they'll use that. They'll kind of be like, hey, he was like this, da 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 da, or he's, you know. I've seen that enough too. I've seen that a lot too. But I still, I'm like, no, I'll give him this grace of this. Sometimes it's like, yeah, there's other things to it too, spiritually too. Like there's stuff I've seen. Like I was like, I can see something they can't see, but you can't force them. You can't. You just gotta leave them alone. Just like, no, just let them. Because oh man, what was that person? Oh, this guy was like quoting about something like that. He was like, yeah, you see everything like it could work or whatever it could be, or you can work with this business partner or whatever it is. They can't see what you see. And they're like, that ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work like this because this. And then because they have a whole other picture in their mind of what they should be with. And this person explained or how they should be doing their business or whatever. And the guy explained, he said, yeah, he said, sometimes certain percentage of the time, he's like, that person who thinks that this is what they really need is incorrect. What they need is right there, right in front of them, or it has just entered near them, has come around them, and they just don't want to acknowledge. They won't acknowledge it because they think they like, I know I have this. Doesn't matter what they're working on. They just don't want to. They're just kind of like, no, I don't. But you can't make them. You can't force yourself to force them. You can't force them. They're their own human, and most. I've met a lot of stubborn people before too. Should we do a white one? Be like this one, orange and white marble tail. Yeah, you can't fault them either about it if they've had stuff happen either. But if you see them laughing about it, then it's like, is it funny or is it you just want to see someone squirm or what they'll do? Or no, I'm not. No, I'm not the one for that. I'm just here. I'm cool. Hey, could do that too. Could do dubbing. Maybe we do dubbing. We ain't done one like that. Maybe we could do dubbing. We'll do dubbing on it instead of this orange. We'll do a dubbing body. That might be kind of cool looking. A dubbing body with dubbing body with do a white tail or a peach tail. Could do both. Let's do the white. Orange, maybe. Let me see. It's over here. Oh yeah. Let's do them. Yeah, we'll just do something. Yeah. We're gonna just throw it together, and we're gonna use copper. Let's use copper. We'll use copper wire on it. So we do like orange, marabou tail. And we'll do like a white over the top, and then we'll do like a copper wire in there just to hold the dubbing down. Yeah, I don't get it. My brother-in-law showed up today again, and he's like, I was like, man, I said, you think it get easier? You think it gets easier? He's like, no, it's about the same, regardless of what you're talking about with the person. Sometimes it's about the same. The unsurety, the back and forth, little mind game things, and little mind things that come up. And then you're like, what is going on? And then you're like, all right, fine. Then you're like, well, maybe you can be friends with them. But then they bust out. Nope, I don't trust you. And you're like, okay, all right, fine. Yeah, he's like, nope, about the same. He's like, nope. He's like, yep. He said, ask your. He actually said, ask your sister. That was like, oh man. I was like, oh man. He's like, well, he's like, I've known your sister since you were in high school. We've known her since back then, and then we ended up together again, like back together. You tell me. I'm like, dang it, man! I was hoping you wouldn't say that. Dang it, man! I was hoping you wouldn't say something like that. Sometimes that's how it works, though. Like people don't work out, and then somebody else does, and then someone comes back, and you got to put aside that they were around other people. Just round and round we go. I know some people are just very much, it's got to be this way, and I'm like, nah, because I done seen it. I done seen some stuff, so like I was like, every time I tried to have stuff be like that, it did not. It did not. It just didn't fit right for some reason. So I don't want to push the issue. I'm just gonna say what I think about it, and that's it. And I'm not gonna personally push them into anything. But I don't like having that gushy feeling. It make you feel all funny. Anybody seen that movie? Old movie. Aside on, Major Pain. He's like, she make me feel all funny. He's like, they're like, what? They're like, that's because you care. I ain't like, basically like, I'm not falling for nobody, or I don't feel anything. I don't care about them. It make me feel all funny. That's one of the funniest parts. One of the funnier parts of that movie. So when he busted that out, he said, she make me feel all funny. Can't really use this one, can I? Can't use that one. Yeah, he's like, make me feel all funny inside. And he's like, I ain't frigid. That's kind of what it's like. It's like, oh, it's the crazy feeling making thing. And so then, like, and he was like, I ain't frigid. But all them things were happening because he liked her. That's why. And he's just like he's in denial of it or something. But you know how some ladies can be. They kind of dance around on guys because they know they can. They kind of, I can just kind of dance around here, and he'll kind of be around, and it's okay. Like not necessarily like they're using you. They just kind of they know like okay, these guys are like around after me. They kind of know. They know that energy coming off the persons, and even if they're not even in there with them, they know. Especially at this age, you kind of know. You make me feel all funny. She make me feel all funny. And he was like, yeah, and Orlando was in that. That was him when he was really young. Was in that movie. The Disney kid. He was really young when he was in that movie acting. I almost forgot that. Yeah, he was in that movie. And then the other Wayans one was in there. The younger one, he was in there too. He was one of the kids. He was one of the kids being trained or whatever by the major. I love that. Yeah, I love that one. That's a great movie. I got that on DVD. That's what I'm talking about because I got it on DVD. I haven't watched it in a while. Might watch it later today actually. Just to watch that part, it make me feel all funny. Yeah, it's difficult. Like I don't trust you. Like you kind of want to go. How would I take to earn their trust? But at the same time, you're like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't know if I want to do that either. You do, but you don't. It's like, nah, don't press the issue because they're not gonna. Well, you know what? I have a friend who we met the old school internet way back in the day. And come to find out, she also knew one of my exes, which was really funny. She technically kind of knew my ex, so because part of the group talking amongst themselves, oh, he's like this guy, and you don't realize that some of these folks talking about you. You ain't even dated them yet, but she telling the other girl, it's and you find out they've been friends, and they're testing you. That's kind of what happened to me in one situation, and then the one did me kind of weird, and then my friend, the other one who became my friend, I end up hanging out with her. And I was like, and then we're talking about like maybe being together in a way. And I was like, this is weird. And she's like, I know her. I've talked to her before. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then that's when I realized what was going on. I said, oh, you guys are playing the click up game on me. And for some reason, I don't know what the reasoning was behind it, but there was something very sus about that. But me and her still ended up staying friends after that, though, even though I knew that information because she decided to be truthful and be like, we kind of been playing around, and then he was like, and then she got mad. Funny story, like funny relationship story. It's like, you gonna go back with her? Like, like that's kind of what came up. Because now we're actually like friends and we talk every day. And she's like, fine, go back with her. I'm like, you have, and I thought that was weird. And I was like, well, you have kids. I thought that was funny. I was like, you have kids though. And with your guy, so why are you concerned about it? And she kind of had this thing like, fine, like almost like you're gonna see what's gonna happen to you if you do. And then I was like, getting scared here. She was like, go ahead, yeah, talk to her, see what happens. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna. Something's weird here. But that's when you realize your name's being you might be being talked about amongst all these other people. And you just don't know it. And there's all these things being said about you, and you're growing as a person through all of this. And people have got an assumption of who you are already from some stuff that's not true, some stuff that is. Well, he's like that, or she's like, it's just human's nature, man. So there's orange on that. Let me glue it down. Flip it over and look at it. Yeah. Yeah, that those kind of situations are kind of thinner, kind of. That's when I realized that sometimes people they be talking amongst themselves. Everybody does a little bit, but in those kind of situations, that's not the best situation for the guy or the two people trying to get together, because it's just kind of the intentions can be messed up, kind of. Or if you, same thing as like if you have a friend, but she doesn't like the guy that's talking to you, because certain things are tied to it. And I know that too, because I know something about this other person's, one of their friends. I kind of know what's up with them. And I know and I was like, that's why this person's acting like this too. You can kind of tell. You can kind of tell. It's like, oh, because sometimes what I've learned is there's a plot at hand. You may not know about it. There's a plot at hand, or there's some information going around that others know, and they're like, yeah, you know what I heard. It's like, so it's meant to keep you from finding some kind of happiness, sort of, by the actions that had happened, but you came out of it, sort of. Sometimes some of the details of some things you just can't talk about. It's just like, you're like, I can't even talk about that because that's just such a crazy event that happened. Just like, I can't even talk about that. Because it's just like, it's such a horrible thing in a way. And sometimes other people are talking about that and you don't know they're like, oh, you know that. You're like, it can be that way too. Okay, so we're gonna put this orange dubbing on here. Now there's a bunch of ways to do this. You can spin it. I'm gonna just take a pinch. But yeah, that's kind of not fun either. And I'm just gonna set it on here and twist it in my hand. Yeah, that can be kind of a weird situation too. And you're just like, what is happening? And this is one way to get dubbing on. There's so many ways to do this. And you can spin it too on the thread itself. But I'm just gonna do it on the hand and just kind of like wrap it and spin it around. It's kind of weird because it's the way the hive mind of everybody works and that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's just, I heard so and so's not a good guy, or I heard this happened to him, or or did you hear how much money he won? All this stuff happens, and you don't know that that's being talked about. She's like, yeah, you should get with him because he has, different stuff. Like, I'm not that guy. Sometimes I wish I kind of was, but it was just not what it meant to be for me to be that guy. Totally, the big money person. There's some other kind of something meant to be in there. There's some other kind of knowledge I have that's just supposed to be for me, pretty much. That I'm supposed to use, I guess. As you see, he's just kind of wrapping that orange dubbing around this thing. It's making it all fuzzy. It's making this thing all fuzzy. But yeah, I don't. That's what gets me, I guess. I'm just like, there's somebody so who else telling us like, just who cares? I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm sorry, I do. I kind of do. I do care what happens in people's lives, kind of into a level. It's kind of how you know if people actually kind of love you a little bit. It's kind of how you know. It's kind of how you know. Especially when you're dealing with someone who's not your immediate family. It's kind of how you kind of know. I don't know if that's crazy to talk about. Is that a bad thing? I'm talking about it, but yeah, it's like a little fuzzy deal here. It's this little orange dubbing. Yeah, I just kind of like roll it twist it onto the thread, and then just wrap it around on it. And then what I'm gonna do, and it usually stays pretty good like that. And then we're gonna pull it back like this. Pull the collar back on it. I'm trying to get it how I want it, but it's trying to act up a little bit. Definitely one way to. It's funny when you meet people like, well, I don't trust you. You're like, well, I can't stop you. I can't stop you from feeling how you feel. So now I could say that to them too and say, I don't trust you because I know this about you. Or I learned this, but I'm not going to do that. What's that cart in the cartoon? You take the high road, now take the low road. Do 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 do. Was Bugs Bunny one of those Warner Brothers cartoon where they sung that song? You take the high road, now take the low road. Old song, country like song. There you go. See, so it's like a little fuzzy thing. And then we're just gonna take the copper to just wrap it one more time. I think we're gonna wrap it the other way because it seems to work better this way. We'll just wrap the copper wire in it to hold it down. But it's okay, You can't please everybody all the time. And no. I got it. just got it. I just got that wire so it wouldn't get away from me. Yes. It was about to get away. It just went because my hands was being too heavy-handed. And I only wrapped that around there just to hold it on there. Just to kind of hold this fur down. Because I put a lot of it on there. So I just decided that that's the only reason why I put the wire on there. I just put the wire just to kind of hold it. Because it's already kind of held down with the thread, but and usually people don't do this either with the hair. But I'm doing it because I want to hold it to hold I want that wire piece to kind of be glued in there. Kind of a different way to do it. Most people do not do it this way. But I want something to kind of, because the fish is not going to be able to tell that little glue's in there. I just want it on that wire to kind of secure it a little bit better because it's a pretty bushy, buggy looking. That's a pretty buggy looking thing you just made. Yeah. I just want to kind of glue it in there. Don't really have to do that. Most would not do that, but I just did. But I want to, and I know it won't. It won't affect how it looks. You won't know the difference. That you don't. It's just unless you only because you saw me do that. Just like a little glue on it, so it'll just like grab that fuzzy hair, and then technically you could pick it out. You could pick this out and make it more bushy looking. You can pick this hair out and make it more bushy looking. And I might do that in a minute here while it's setting up. And today's the day to go on a mission. I'm gonna go on a mission. I don't know if I'm gonna do a live while I'm doing it or not, but I'm kind of thinking about it. I'll do like a little. Maybe I'll just do like a video short or something. Might be kind of alright. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't be thinking about this stuff the same as I used to because I've had people take ideas and then people suggested ideas. And I don't take it the same to get upset about it because I care, but it's like I just don't. What might be necessary for some to do, it's not necessary for me. And then yeah, it's just like a little, basically like the same thing as making something like that, but instead of chenille, the chenille on here, you're gonna use your dubbing instead for the body, and you can even use the hackle over it, or you can just leave it like it is, and you can pick it out, and it'll kind of have like a movement in the water too. Kind of have like a movement And there's so many different types of that stuff now too. And I do got this for like the nymphs and stuff. This is like a kit. So this is pretty cool. It's like a kit and it's got a bunch of different ones in there. So you can make all different colored ones, and you pull it out through the hole, pull it out through these little holes, and you drop it on there like that. But this kind has a kind of like a glitter in it, more of a glittery look to it. But there's like the darker gray, green, darker black looking, like a charcoal, stonefly colors. It's pretty neat. When I bought this, I was like super happy. It's pretty much full, and you can refill it if you want with more dubbing to like dispense it for you. And that's kind of why I got it, because even when it runs out, I can put if I want to, I can put that in there and this one in there, or I can put a yellow type of dubbing in there and just pull it out through those holes. Yeah, I don't do, and then I have some other. That's the synthetic stuff, but I have the real one that you used to. The real way we used to do it. We do it, and this one's similar to the real stuff. The real hair. You make your dubbing with it, but now they have all this now that's like dyed almost the color you need. But there's still something different about having the real hair. I don't think I have any. There's one fly I really want. There's this one fly I want to tie, but I'm kind of like hesitant to do it because I think I've seen one person do it so far, and there's some similar pattern thing, but it's not like how I'm like. It's not the way I'm gonna do it. Is just the simplest way to ever. Like, hey, you guys are gonna see me fish it eventually too, and you're gonna see you're gonna see how many fish I catch with it. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be pretty neat. When I do it live, hopefully I'll be able to get some good fishing action with it. But I catch a lot of different stuff with it, and I fished it so much I stopped fishing it. It's one of those lure baits like where you just like, I gotta fish a different way because I've been fishing this way only for a while, and you're like, it's just always works. It just always usually catches something. Especially in the summertime, springtime. And it's another one of those baits like a jig that just it catches trout, it catches bass, it just panfish. I haven't tried it in the ocean though. That's the one thing. I've never tried it in the ocean to see if it works. But it works on anything in the lake so far. I've caught cutthroat trout with it. I've caught rainbows with it. I've caught bluegills with it. Crappie bite it. Perch bite it. Tons of perch with it. But it's like a fly. But it's been around for a long time. It just kind of got forgotten. There is a patent on it though. I looked it up and I was like, I'm gonna tie these and do this, and then I was like, there's a patent on it, so I can't even call it what it's supposed to be called because there's a patent already on it. But people have been tying some stuff similar to it, but I tie something that's like almost like how the old way they used to make it, and I learned it from someone else, and they couldn't quite duplicate how to make it, but then they knew I tied, and so they said, can you make it? and I said, I think I can do that. And then we started using it, and we caught a lot of fish with it. And I usually keep a couple in a little medicine bottle thing, just like I keep these jigs to keep them kind of out the way and not on the floor. I usually get me a couple of them and just always keep a few in my tackle box every year just to have them around. And every once in a while I go, I'm going to pull one of those out, fish with it. So this is the part you can pick the hair out to make it kind of more buggy looking. You can kind of pick it out a little bit. Because it's the wires in there holding it down. And you can kind of make it kind of more fuzzy looking. As you can see, you just pick a little bit of it out to make it kind of more fuzzy looking. The little looser pieces that are hanging, you can kind of pick them out. Even though I glued it, it's still trying to be fuzzy. Even though I put glue in there, it's still getting really fuzzy looking. That's why I was like, I don't think it doesn't really matter that much if you do it just right. It ain't gonna matter. It's not gonna hurt it too much. So I said, everybody kind of does their stuff different, or how they've been taught. And I kind of taught a lot of stuff myself, and stuff I've seen now mixed together. And then some things you just start kind of figuring out, and it works easier for you. And then someone else might be like, I can't do that way. I don't like it. Like there's a couple patterns you gotta weave. You have to weave it to make it. You have to weave the actual materials and stuff to make the design of it. And I do know how to do it, but I've seen some other ones, some new stuff that people made, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's complicated. I said, that's kind of complicated. Let's take this out of here for a second. Just see if we can pick the bottom part out, the underbelly a little bit. Usually I'd be running around town or something, and I was like, you know what? It's like, no. I was like, I'm not doing any of that. And the traffic, I bet, was pretty crazy too, especially in the Seattle. You know. Like, I'm not going down there for all that mess. Sit in the house, eat some gumbo, watch some fishing show, watch somebody fishing, think about what this one person said to me, you know, and chill out. Because it kind of means something to me a little bit. They might not think so, but it kind of does, what they said. So. Some stuff does kind of mean something. It's getting pretty fuzzy now. So that's the trick with the dubbing. Sometimes you just, once it's down, you make sure it gets snugged down good, and then you kind of pick it out, and you can, if you have like the mini comb or something, you can kind of like comb it, but you don't want to do it too much because it'll make that wire loose. That's why I was like, I'll just put like a little dash of glue in there, because I want that wire to wire's holding it down, but some of this hair can come out. Some of this like dubbing can come out. But that's why I ran the wire on it too, besides the thread. There you go. So even though I glued that, unlike with the Marabou, it's coming out really fuzzy looking. Like when the glue gets on the Marabou, it kind of messes it up. Or in the deer hair, it could kind of mess it up a little bit. It's like a little mini operation going on here. There we go. Yeah, you just kind of pick out the hair and then kind of pull at it a little bit, just gently. So you can see, I don't know if you can see it. You can't even almost see that wire in there no more. That copper wire is right there. I'm actually gonna put glue in there. Once I pick this out a little bit, I'm gonna put glue right there. Right near that spot. Lay it down here. Yeah, I need to put this kind because that other glue ain't gonna hold that. Bonk. Right there. I appreciate when the people who do care about certain stuff like that. We all go through some really interesting stories I've heard from a lot of the fellow fishermen, YouTube people, guys, and stuff, and ladies. It's really interesting stories of stuff that's going on, their lives and stuff. And I say, yep, I got stories too. Some are painful, some are not. It's not always woe is me, but boy, when you're going through that stuff and you come out of it, and then you see that what it does to you, and how you remember it. And some people say you got to move forward. And I say, yeah, you do, but then that thing that happened made you who you are now. You learned something from it, so yeah, you might talk about it sometimes. That might be a little of a mental bit of thing, but I figure it's not the only one. Like I figure if anybody else has been through something like that, they're kind of like that too, even if they think they're healed, because they may talk a certain way. That's what I know. They might talk a certain way too, and they don't. But I'm not gonna hold that against somebody. I think that's where the understanding comes into play about stuff like that happening. Even if, I learned just because someone talks about something or they have something on repeat doesn't mean that it don't mean that they're like bad or solely obsessed with that like some would think. It just, they might be comfortable with it. It doesn't bother them, but it seems to bother the other person because you're talking about it. That's what it is. It's something about them, how they feel it should be, which is fine. They're entitled to their choice. And there's an understanding. You got to understand that stuff. And I do. And I see people go through it all the time where they're breaking up or whatever the heck they're going on. And you're trying to tell them like, okay, this person's like mean to you or whatever it is, and they don't know. So there you go. I don't know what you'd call that. Woolly bugger jig, orange woolly bugger jig. I don't know. Dubbing jig. There's probably some pattern that's like this somewhere. Somebody's tied, and they probably got some name for it. Probably a different type of dubbing though. So this dubbing is, this kind is different, really kind of old style dubbing. It looked good though. Let's put it in here. There we go. There you go. It's just a bright orange little jig. Orange with white tail. Not too bad. Just a bright little orange white tail marabou jig with dubbing body. Yeah, you can see the light really grabbing that orange, making it really bright looking. That orange with the white. That's why I kind of put the white in there, because I was like, it needs something to tone down that orange, because that orange and that fire orange is really, it stands out. If you fish that in murky water, I'm pretty sure it's gonna stand out. That is gonna stand out really good. Yeah, that's gonna stand out a lot. So you could tie that in black, gray, tan. You just change the colors, and it looks more like a insect than this one. This one might pass for a crawfish almost though, like a southern crawfish, because it's such a bright orange. You could probably pass for southern crawfish, like a southern crawfish type of deal. I'm pretty sure that would work in the south pretty good. Bright orange like that in springtime, probably pretty good. Yeah, but definitely very crappie, trouty-ish. I probably should, maybe I'll make another. Maybe I'll make something like similar, but I'll mix the. Let's see, because we have this colors too. Gray, black. Got these ones. So I can do this one. Let's see. I was telling K Fishing, that's what you need to get one of these. I said just get the eye hole buster. Someone else recommended me get one, and I finally just got one because the last, or for my birthday, I got it. My nephew was really sweet, cool dude, sweet dude. And he knows I fish, and sometimes I play video games. So he was like, "Here, like, little $2 thing, bust the eye holes out of the jigs when the paint is kind of, or the powder coater in the paint has kind of covered the eye holes, and when you buy them, they have that. You decide to buy one. When I've never had one in all the years, I always would take like a fishing hook or something else and bust the. But this is kind of nice to have this little thing, and you can carry. It's got a little loop. It's got a little hole on it, so you can carry it. And we got it from Bass Pro Shops. Yeah, you can just take it and go like that to the eye hole. These where the paint is got in there, and you save your fingers, and you kind of save your fingers from getting destroyed from the point of that hook going in your hand because you're struggling trying to take a fishing hook and stick through there. I'm sure there's some fishing hack for this too, besides buying one of these, but it was only like $2 or something, $2 or $3. I've been using it a little bit, so it's not as sharp at the end there no more. And you pick that off. You can kind of see it. See now the the little eye hole eyelet is clear now. It's pretty clear. Yeah, some of this powder coat, when it sets up, it gets pretty dang tough. This pearl one, there's something wrong with it. The actual so it's not melting down when it gets heated up. It's not melting down on the hook and totally liquefying like this one, and that's what I was showing before. See, it's really shiny looking, this one. And these ones, they're pretty. They kind of have a cool, shiny sheen to them. These ones didn't come out like that. They came out more like gritty, sandy. And I tried different heat source, and it still did the same thing. So, and these these jigs are not very much lead to them, so it's easy to. It doesn't take nothing but a couple seconds to melt that lead or that with just a lighter. So yeah, but I'm just a time. I don't know. I guess I just did. I talk about anything, all kinds of stuff. I talk about relationships, what I think. But just because you think that way doesn't mean other people do. Just because I'm just like, oh, well, this, and this doesn't mean other people do. Which ain't a bad thing. Some people think it's funny, though. They have like, I don't know. It's kind of like mischievous. It's like funny in a different kind of way. To them, they're like, oh, look at this. I know this. I don't know how to explain it. I think I explained it good, though. In a proper fashion. Different things that go on with humans. So this one. I think I'm going to use. Yeah, we're going to use. Yeah. We're going to just do. Oh, because it's got a white jig head. It got a white jig head on here, so we're going to use the white jig head, and then we're going to do a white jig head, and then we're going to do a white tail, and then the body's just going to be all black, like all dark. But it's going to be dubbing. That ought to have a cool look to it. All, yeah. Should make a darker tail really, but I think I'm just going to do. I'm going to do it this way. With like a little patch of marabou or something. Ain't nothing but to do it. Ain't nothing to do it. Ain't nothing to do it. Make it do what it do. Yeah. It's very small wispy tail because this is small jig. It's not a big one. It's very small jig. So I'm trying not to use a ton of marabou on it. Because it's kind of a smaller jig head. Yeah, that's difficult dealing with humans. I was like, I said, are you going to go anywhere? I said, no. all that mess out there. But it is fun sometimes. Or if you have a significant other, sometimes it's kind of fun to go do a little bit of traveling, see some stuff. If they are on the level, it's even if you don't spend a bunch of money, it's nice just to kind of be like, hey, let's go like see this real quick. But that isn't everything. I definitely learned that too. It's not always everything. Or having the flashy cars, even though it is nice to drive, high end stuff, cars and stuff. Sometimes it ain't everything. Some people lead with what they drive, and not with what's up in their brain. They lead with what they drive or what they have, not with what's up in their mind and their brain, and vice versa. Women too. It's like, this is how I look outside, so you should be acting this way. We're gonna put these on this side. Yeah, I was surprised I saw Seasons. I was, kind of said, hey. He was like, hey. I was like, hey, what's up? I was like, yeah, they didn't get me, man, but they pretty much did get me. But I still caught me a couple fish. And I'm tying some flies and jigs and things. Try to look at the brighter side. There is a brighter side to these type of events. So we'll do that. Let's flip it over and look. That's pretty good. And if you could see that crystal flash on there with that lighting. Somebody said, they told me I should get I get one of those ring light things, and I was like, I'll get pretty good lighting right here, unless I move it. There's another place, maybe I might move it in the house or move it somewhere else where there's decent lighting there. Oh, and then this one, we'll just do copper again. Yeah, we'll just stick with the same theme, copper. Copper wire. Handy dandy copper wire. Cool little fly fishing thing to use. Especially with the nymphs. So this is kind of like, that's kind of what this is, I guess. It's like a jig nymph. That's what it kind of is. To make it like that, it's like a jig woolly nymph bugger thing. And there's patterns that are kind of like that are salmon ones. It's like a type of hair that moves a certain kind of way. And they got it in like colors that salmon like. It tend to be what we use for salmon fishing in the rivers and stuff, and steelhead. All right, so that look good. Rotate it. Yeah, it's kind of running a little bit. Just a little bit. That's good. That's good. It's all right, man. Yeah, it's pretty doubtful I'll be monetized. I was like talking to somebody on the, I was like, it's pretty doubtful I'll be monetized anytime soon. But you never know. Monetize anytime soon. It's just not. It's a lot of hours of tying and doing things. Just fishing and the lives. A lot to that. But if you like what you like doing, and if you like your fishing, it doesn't really. When you do it comes to fishing and food, and it's just gonna kind of fall into place anyway. Eventually, as you kind of create. So we're gonna do black, like a gray. Is that gray? So we're gonna use that. See, you can hear it. You know, it's got a different texture than that stuff I was using. That other stuff is like more like almost like a real hair. This is like the synthetic stuff. Kind of hear how it came out that container. And this got like a little. This one doesn't have red to it, but one of the ones I got has like a red to it. It's like red and black. And you can see it kind of wrapped on there. It went on there totally different. When I spun it, like it spun on there a lot easier. But I don't think it's gonna be as obviously. I don't think it's gonna be as bushy looking. Yeah, it's not gonna be as bushy looking. But I'm gonna try to make it. I don't know. People are just crazy. People can be crazy. People like, oh, you do this judgments, and everybody has a judgment and things. I started just making jokes about some stuff now because I'm just these days too. I'm like, man, you know what? Someone's like, well, you're not. Yeah. That's why if we those debates about religious beliefs can be really crazy because people go, well, you're not supposed to watch this or do that. But then at the same time, how do you not know what's happening in the world without stumbling upon certain things? It's just, yeah. What can you do? Danged if you do, and danged if you don't. And some person told me that, and I know why. It's because they're like, I want to make this money because I know what they do. It's funny. It's like, and you're just like, if that's what you do, that's what you do. And they think it's funny. And you're just kind of like, if that's what you do, you don't gotta. I might not like it, but that's what you do. But it's also, I mean, if you're a person who ain't running around acting crazy, then, which I met a few people like that too, running around acting crazy. But one other person I met explained it to me. They were like, yeah, it's difficult because I do this and this and this for work. I was like, yeah, that's probably pretty difficult. And then I explained I met people who did that. I learned different lines of work and the weird stories. And they said, yeah, it's just, they're like, really? I'm like, I'm not really gloating about it, but it's just, I don't know how I ended up in there. going to this event or being around this thing. I guess that looks all right. Yeah, I'm not the most in shape dude anymore. I'm all right. I got my mind in the right place. So there you go. There's like the body of this one. But now it's kind of like black to it, and you can see it's got a different. It's a different type of dubbing. And then we're gonna wrap a copper wire on this one. If I can get it unhung from this piece. La-da-dee, who knows? The world is never what you think it is. And and you're trying to trust people, so what they tell you. It's funny. I don't trust you. I'm like, some people. You kind of think about who they're around, and you're like, yeah, I guess it's people you've been around for a long time. I get it. Oof. It's all good. Try to support them and be cool. And you're like, I don't give a shit. Okay. I thought I was gonna put a cock feather on this, but I changed my mind. It's good to do stuff on your own, but man, I'm the type of person I like. It's not codependent. It's like you like. Some people just like having someone around. We like having people around us a little bit. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Wanting to have relationships and friendships and or people you like around you can laugh with. Or trying to meet new ones, a few new ones. It's all good. Ooh, eat. There we go. Let's go here. Okay, we're gonna tie this down. I'm gonna put it through. I'm not gonna even do a extra time. I'm actually gonna do a real knot. Real knot. And I think I'm gonna be done for a bit. Maybe I'll go on later. It just depends on what I do when I run these errands. Just depends on what I decide to do after running these errands. Gosh, it can be such a weird world. Clown. What is it? Clown world we live in. There's that one. This one don't got as much fuzz to it because it's a different type of material. So picking this out is gonna be a little bit even more challenging than the other one. To me. Here's one side. Oh well. just keep it rolling. We just keep it rolling. We chillin'. Just trying to tie some flies and be chillin' nerdy. People be thinking we shady. Just be that they don't know me. It's all good. They just be thinking that you judge them, when you really it's just like, okay, you change your belief and how you deal with certain stuff. It's like, you know what? If that's really who you are, how you are, then that's who you are. I popped through. No underwear. No. That's so funny. I was like, yeah. Oh, guess what? That was true. Like, no, I'm like, yeah. Yep. Nuh-uh. Yeah, yep. You want to see? Please, I don't know what he's doing. You should be worried about that stuff. I should be more worried about you. That's what I realized. When someone says that to you, maybe I should be more worried about them. Trust them what they say. But I try to trust people. I'm trying. I'm learning to trust people. Learn to trust again. Got to learn to trust again. And again and again and again and again. Do you see me time flies? Stay 18. I'm just time flies, being fly, fishing nerdy. They don't understand that I tie flows and jigs and things and catch them. Been doing it before since I was 30. Ooh, don't get that on there. That's good enough. All right, so this one, I don't even think I need to put any glue on the wire because the way this hair is, like, this is made, this dubbing is made. It's just, it's a, where is it? It's from a Spirit River ink. It doesn't tell me what it's made from. I just know it's a synthetic one. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Doesn't tell me what the specific synthetic is. But it looks kind of cool. It's kind of got like a mid-muddler minnow look to it, but it's like got black in it. So I mean, two different types of material dubbing, and you get their totally different buggy effect. As luminaries would say, buggy, like a buggy fly looking effect. You get a different type of effect to that. It's kind of like a muddler minnow looking thing here. a little bit because it kind of sweeps back over the marabou. If you look at it, it kind of sweeps back over the marabou. And I kind of picked it out. But it's kind of shiny, kind of like a sheen to it. Looks pretty trout-like to me. Looks pretty panfish trout-esque to me. Kind of like a muddler minnow. If I would have made it brown, it'd be like a mud minnow or something. And that hair's and that little dubbing is gonna kind of sweep back over it. Yeah, simple, pretty simple powder to make, and it's very fishy, very fishy looking. And that hair, that dubbing hair, kind of sits there. I'm gonna let it sit for a minute. That actually came out pretty good. Little black, all black, kind of. I think let me look at it again. Let's see. Maybe they're in order. Looks black to me. Looks like black. That's what the other one. Peacock, golden, dark hairs here, mahogany, black. It might be black stonefly. That might be what that one is. The color that they call on it, because it's black, pretty much jet black almost. Yeah, I bet you that's what that is. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that's what that is. And brown. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that's black stonefly color, and but it almost doesn't look like it until you pull. It doesn't look black until I pulled it out of there, and now I'm looking at it. It looks more darker color because this almost looks black here, but and I look at that one, it's got like slight red and brown to it, but it's almost black too. And the rest are like hare's ear color, dark olive, so it's like similar to that color, the green on the body of that. If you look at it, similar, lighter. That's still like a darker green, and that's almost like a black also, but it's like kind of gray. I think that's gray almost. Yeah, it's like a kind of like a muddler pattern kind of. So if I would have tied that on the other hook, like if I would have tied that on this, it looked just like that, but it would be more like a streamer. It'd be like a more of a streamer fly that would, and I'd want to probably put a little weight to it to sink it. Hence the copper wire, but I'd probably add lead, like a lead wrap to the body of it, and then put that dubbing over it, so it would sink down, or even use the cone beads, like I made on that one live, not that one, like last week. I think it was last week I made that one, or I made the cone shaped like kind of like a imitation of a nymph type of deal with the peacock curl and the hackle, and it'd be something similar. That's kind of like this similar. It would be something similar if I used a hook instead of like used a streamer hook instead. Meant to look kind of like a little minnow or something. But you can also do it on a jig head, and it works pretty dang good too. I think it looks good. Yeah. Let's see, let it dry some more. Let's see. There's my. Let's see if they're up here. What kind of fly is that? Oh, there they are. here. So cool little like Butler pattern type of deal, but it's in white and black. So there it is. Cool little fishy pattern. Cool little orange. Same thing, but it's in a different type of dubbing. Body of like dubbing. I wonder, make one more, make a brown one. Same thing, but make it brown. Yeah, I could make one. Make it like a. I'll make it hazy or brown, and I'll try to use this. I might use this piece that didn't work out last time. It was kind of brittle. Piece was kind of brittle. Yeah, I don't know. I said, man, I was sitting there saying, I'm not even the same person, but I was around a lot of these people, though. And I seen some stuff, some wild stuff. Ain't any wilder than what we keep seeing on the news. I do not want to be in that boat. Not any wilder than what we've been seeing. Let's do this one. I already did one. I'll do another one. This one looks better. That's funny. That's another thing I always think about. When we call the, we always used to that thing. What's that? The pot calling the kettle black. When people say that, used to say that phrase, saying the pot calling the kettle black. Funny too. It amazes me. I was watching this guy. After I got done gaming, I played a couple matches of Titanfall for the start of the new year. I tied, and that guy was like, "Yeah, the people." He was like, "They be having stuff that was done to them," or no, he's like, "There's something." What he said? They did. He was like, "They've done stuff too, or they really have done more than you." When it comes to certain things, and they could be more successful than you. And he was like, but they did some wild stuff, but they call you a certain thing, or they thinking a certain way about you. And he was kind of explaining that too. He was like, yeah, and I was like, it's kind of interesting to listen to what they say about this stuff. And he was like, yeah, they said they calling you the untrustworthy one, but they done told you learned all these crazy, you learned some stories, you don't, and you're just like, oh, okay, life happened there, weird stuff happened there, and you're cool. You're like, it's cool, but in this world, sometimes, ooh, you be like, ooh wee. People be, they be thinking on some stuff. Let's see, tail, right body, brown, orange, peach, teal. I'm trying to think the tail color. Because I have mostly salmon color tails right now. The stuff I want to make for the tail. Unless I use buck tails, and I don't feel like I'm not in the mood to tie buck tails right now. Like a bucktail style. Maybe? No. Oh, no bucktail. We ain't doing a bucktail. I'm not ready to start tying bucktails right now. I got a bunch of stuff to tie bucktails, but I don't want to. A couple things to tie, but I don't want to tie bucktails. Here's tail, black, brown. It's all good, though. You can't make people trust you or believe you. So we're just gonna do like when we made the one jig. That's all we'll do. So we made a big salmon jig because this jig was kind of damaged, and we put the two tails. We're gonna make something kind of like that, but we're only gonna put that little small strip of rabbit fur. That little small piece as a tail. Just a really small rabbit, piece of rabbit. Like that, little small piece of rabbit. But yeah, this is just kind of throwing it together, not even a specific pattern, just like it looks fishy, you know. It'll fit no fish. It just looks fishy. Well, we're gonna try to tie this in there again. One of these in there like we did the last time, which went kind of wrong. Which kind of went wrong that time. But we're gonna try it again. Hopefully this one's better, but it came out of the same package, so that one was kind of brittle. Hopefully this one's not too brittle. And I won't be too heavy-handed and break it. Try to use this to build the body up here. Some of that hackle. Yeah, lots of things in this world. I said, stop getting with people who are like this. Yeah, you're right. Okay, and then we're gonna do. Yeah, we're just gonna do it though. We're gonna use. Let's see. Just all black. Just a light green. We use a light green actually. Choose mine. Change my mind. Change my mind. Change my mind. I changed my mind of what color I was gonna use. Yeah. I don't even know if this is the way they like you. Some people say to do it because you can do it another way to get a different effect, but I kind of just do it this way. And it's good enough. And this one, I'm not even going to put copper in it. I'm not going to put the copper wire in it. It's just going to be the dubbing. I'm not even going to use copper wire to hold it down because I'm going to see if the saddle hackle will hold it down for me in a way. I'm not going to use as much dubbing on it. I think that's all I'm going to need right here. This will be it. Maybe. Let's see if we can do it. Oh, might need more. Maybe. No. Trying to get in just enough on there so I don't have to. I'll try not to put more on it. So there. Green. Like olive green. It's like a lighter olive than this. Like so it's very similar to the chartreuse on here, but it's really like olive color. And we're gonna wrap this one over the top of the dubbing. No wire this time, so it could come loose. Fair warning, it could come loose. I'm trying to do it snug, but it could come loose. Because that dubbing's really fluffy underneath there with gaps in it and stuff, so it could come loose when I wrap this if I don't do it snug enough. But then I don't want too snug because it'll break. This feather will break. There you go. Looks like we have a wiener. A wiener. We won. We won. Could just do one more wrap too after tying it down. Give it like more of a collar to it. So it has a thicker collar at the front. So that's basically almost like a woolly bugger. Almost like what a woolly bugger, pretty much what a woolly bugger is. But instead, we got a rabbit. So we got a rabbit tail on it. So it's like, this is kind of what I was saying, like in the earlier live and stuff. Like you just, whatever your mind can think of, even off of stuff you've already seen. You can play around with the materials and come up with a concoction. And sometimes one day you pull that lure little jig out of your tie box and it works. And you're like, I was waiting to try this. Yeah, so it's almost like a woolly bugger. And then I I've wrapped it so then there's like a little extra couple wraps on the front, so it's kind of thick, like it's got a neck collar to it. And that's it. That is a jig right there. You can put it under a float, drift it. Nice little jig with probably pretty good action because that tail's a rabbit. And then you got the saddle hackle wet fly, like wet fly style feather for the collar, the neck, the rest of the body. And you can even, if I wanted to, I could pick that out too. So it gets fuzzy like this one with that on it and give it more like volume. Yeah, give it like more volume to it. So that's the cool thing about the dubbing stuff. You can kind of play with that, and you can play with that dubbings and make some pretty bushy looking, buggy looking things. Got some of that powder coat here. Get out of here, powder coat. You're in the way, powder coat. Let me glue it. And then we're going to glue it. So I could have put a wire on it too. We're going to put some thinner on this one though. Just right here. Thinner. And you're good. You are good with it. Let's see. Come on. There we go. All right. So we got like a bunch of like crappie, panfish styles jigs here. Been on here 3 hours at 6:47, almost 7 o'clock. So and yeah, dry a minute before I grab it off of there. Let it dry for a second. But that's pretty. Look at it. Take my pliers, grab it. See, look at it. It's kind of like basically a Woogie Bully Bugger. Olive body, brown saddle hackle, black rabbit fur tail. But it's a little jig, a little like almost like a micro jig. I really feel like this one's really a good trout looking one. Really trout looking color to me because it's like mostly natural colors: green, brown, black. These ones are kind of, it's a little more flashy. orange, really flashy. Got this, and I added the crystal flash to it. There's no crystal flash in this. It's just the only thing that's kind of got flash to it is the dubbing. It's got like kind of a sheen to it in the center of the body of it. It's different. You look at it next to that tail, it's like it's almost like the chartreuse of that tail. It's like the same color. That lime green chartreuse tail. See, the jig head kind of matches it, that body of that. And then we got these two. They're more woolly bugger-ish because they got the marabou tail, but the bodies are dubbing. Bodies are dubbing instead. Probably, I really like how this one came out. I think that's really good. And this one up here. So that's just throwing colors together. You think they look good together. It would look like something a fish would take. Looks like something a trout or something would go after. Just a nice little brown green jig. Little micro mini jig. Pretty good. I think it came out pretty good. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tied 7 jigs since New Year's. And it's 6:50. We tied the first one right at I started on it right before 12 o'clock. I hope folks will enjoy watching. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna head on out of here. I got adventures to do today for the beginning of the year. Got to get some things kind of rolling, and some of it has to do with getting some more materials and checking on some things for fly tying and other things. See if you haven't already. Hope you enjoyed watching me tie some jigs, and if you like to drop a like, make a comment. Happy New Year's, you guys.